Assalamualaikum and welcome back to all participants. Congratulations, you have done with your presentation. It is the time for our third plenary speaker, Professor Dr. Kamisah Osman from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Professor Dr. Kamisah will give a speech entitled Pedagogy Approach to Integrate Computational Thinking Skills in STEM Education. I will pass the microphone to Dr. Nur Hakimah binti Abdul Rahman as the moderator for the session. The stage is yours, Dr. Hakimah.
Thank you, Ms. Farah Najah, as a chairperson for today. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all the participants, attendees, and everyone. Welcome to the third ICSTEM 2021. Now, we are in the third plenary session live from Conference WebEx, Facebook, and YouTube of official UMT. Now, we have come to the last plenary talk for this conference. But before that, my name is Dr. Nur Hakimah Abdul Rahman from STEM Foundation Center, University Malaysia Terengganu. And today, I will be sharing this third plenary talk. We feel honored to have our panel this afternoon. She is here with us right now, live from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM. Would like to welcome Professor Dr. Kamisah binti Osman to the ICSTEM 2021. Assalamualaikum. How are you, Prof?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, let me introduce a little bit about Professor Dr. Kamisah. Professor Dr. Kamisah Osman joined the Faculty of Education, UKM in 1999 after successfully completing Masters and PhD studies at the University of Manchester, United Kingdom. She is the Chief Editor of Malaysian Journal of Education. She was the Executive Editor of Asian Journal of Learning and Teaching in Higher Education from 2013 to 2014, an active editorial board member of the Eurasian Journal of Science and Mathematics Education, ISI and Scopus Index, International Journal of Education in Mathematics, Science and Technology, Science Education Review, Malaysian Journal of Education, and Academic Journal of Southeast Asia Social Science and Humanities. Her expertise is STEM education, specializing in the assessment of problem solving and higher order thinking, as well as innovative pedagogical approaches in STEM learning. Prof. Kamisah is also an active member in securing the development of innovation, especially in STEM education, not only at the university level, but also national and international levels, and is currently holding an administrative responsibilities as the head of Science Education Module at the UKM Center of Innovation in Teaching and Learning. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Kamisah binti Osman to deliver her plenary talk entitled Pedagogy Approach to Integrate Computational Thinking Skill in STEM Education. Please welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nur Hakimah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good evening to everyone. I will share my screen first. Is that okay, Dr. Hakimah?
Okay.
Do the slideshow. Is that okay? Can you see the slide?
Yes, I can see the slide, Prof.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Assalamualaikum and very good evening once again. So I would like to share issues related to STEM teaching and learning. So this evening, I would love to share about the pedagogical approach, how to integrate computational thinking in STEM education. So as mentioned by our chairperson, I am from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. At the moment, I am holding a post as a chairman for this social and economic research cluster at UKM. We are focusing on social and economic development, focusing more on transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research at UKM. Okay, I will share the structure of my presentation. So first, I will just glance through problem in STEM education. I'm sure this issue has been widely discussed throughout this conference. why computational thinking need to be integrated and need to be emphasized in STEM education. So what is computational thinking? And eventually I will proposing strategies how to cultivate computational thinking in STEM education before we proceed with conclusion as well as reflection, how we should go about in moving forward in integrating computational thinking in science teaching and learning. Now, what are the problems? What are the major problems in STEM education? So before this, I'm going to give an overview of my presentation. As we could see, at the bottom. In this presentation, I will love to bring our discussion in answering how do we define computational thinking skills ability, so how it can be incorporated in STEM's education. So is the implementation of computational thinking is likely to boost students' achievement in STEM content acquisition. So our teachers are well aware of the importance of computational thinking's abilities, as well as whether they are well trained with the current knowledge to integrate computational thinking skills in classroom. So these are most often asked questions when we were discussing about the application of multidisciplinary techniques in computational thinking STEM educational setting. Now, the first part of my presentation, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to discuss the challenges in the implementation of interdisciplinary approach in STEM education. As I mentioned earlier, I guess this topic and these issues have been widely discussed. I believe throughout this conference. So as we could see, normally teachers were always restricted with limited time in delivering the content within the given time, the learning period, and the greatest importance of mostly teachers, they put greater importance on exam-oriented learning. There are also teachers who are more prone to develop teacher-centered approach rather than focusing on student-centered approaches. And at the same time, our culture, the culture within the context of our teaching and learning, also give monstrous impact, on teachers' pedagogical approach. It comes back with to our orientation towards exam-oriented, and the importance of achievement, academic achievement for every child. So these are all major challenges, in the implementation of interdisciplinary approach. Why we couldn't really implement, the interdisciplinary approach in STEM's education as what we hope, even though we know the benefit of integrated approach in science teaching and learning. So these are all important hindrances that most teachers were facing at the moment. Now, with regard to integrating computational thinking in science or in STEM education, so normally a teaching lesson which focusing on programming skill will demolish the requirement of content knowledge. So when we really focus solely on computational thinking, so we tend to neglect the attainment of certain scientific concepts, which is going to lead towards the failure in terms of its implementation. Now, at the same time, numerous teachers were always unaware about the presence of computational thinking elements in the curriculum. Whether it has been systematically integrated in the curriculum, most of the teachers are not well aware, and they always regard computational thinking as different set of skills that need to be integrated in the curriculum. Now, at the same time, most teachers build in themselves misconception between computational thinking and ICT tools integration in teaching and learning. So therefore, a proper pedagogical approach plays an important role for cultivating computational thinking in students, while at the same time maintaining the student-centered learning environment within the context of STEM teaching and learning. Now, so those are the overview, the problems with regard to STEM education in general, and effort, to cultivate or to inculcate computational thinking among our students. All right. So why computational thinking? So as we could see, the future is all about technology. Even now, we are in an environment where technology, shape every aspect of our life, right? So be it in the medical, as well as entertainment, transportation, everything, leads towards digitalization. So therefore, computational thinking skills is very important and critically important to be cultivated, in our students, especially our future generation, those children who are still, at primary schools, at kindergarten, they need to be develop in themselves their skills, the computational thinking skills in them, because the future, lots of uncertainties in the future. As we could see, there are many jobs, newly created jobs, as a result of technological advancement, and there are certain jobs will be eliminated, within 2 or 3 years from now. So we need to be ready and prepared ourselves as well as our children in facing, a lots of uncertainties and future challenges, so that they will be able, to fully function as citizen, as effective citizen, and so on and so forth. Now, as you could see, the skills that we need to cultivate, in our students, has dramatically changed as a result of technological advancement. But the way we teach our student, as we are now in year 2021, the methods that we are using is far more or less the same, as compared to the teaching strategies or learning experience that was created for children, in 18th century. So our current education system, I could say that we fail to prepare, our future generation for the jobs that not yet exist. So this is why, we need to cultivate, and we must prepare, and we must start, by integrating computational thinking, as to replace conventional higher order thinking, which is crucially important, in making sure that our future generation will remain relevant in the future. So, what is computational thinking? I will now, move to the third segment of my presentation. What is computational thinking? So it can be defined, from three different perspectives: computational concept, computational practices, and computational perspective. Now, definition of computational thinking. In 2006, Janet Wing, from Carnegie Mellon University, she has defined computational thinking involve solving problems, skills that are related to solving problems, designing system, understanding human behavior by drawing on the concepts fundamental to computer science. But later, she after 5 years, exploring in computational thinking skills, she then refined her definition as her definition for critical thinking as thought processes which involve in formulating problems, solving problems, but the solutions of the problems, need not to be operated by human, but can also be represented in the form that can be effectively carried out by an information processing agent. So in this case, we could also, perceive computational thinking as similar to problem solving skill. Is just that the solutions of the problem, might not necessarily be operated by human, but rather can also be operated by information processing agent. Now, at the same time, Roman Gonzalez, the definitions of computational thinking, researchers who were involved in computational thinking start to evolve, since the past 5 years. Okay, so most of them, if we could synthesize the definition of computational thinking, for most of them refer to set of problem-solving skills, that must be acquired and developed by today's generation. Okay, so Weintraub also concur. Previously, Weintraub also concur with Janet, And also, so as Romero, who regarded computational thinking as a set of cognitive as well as metacognitive strategies, similar to problem solving skills. And these skills has become steadily more important as a way of thinking about solving problems, but problems which are ill structured, which require open-ended as well as divergent solution. So this is the definition of computational thinking. I would love to reiterate the definition evolved from Janet. Okay, conceptualization of computational thinking, and now we could regard computational thinking as similar to problem-solving skill. It's just that the solutions of the problem, might not necessarily be operated by human being, but it can also be replaced by operating system, which is machine. So from there, I then synthesized 6 main computational thinking concepts, which these concepts are also emphasized in our school curriculum. First with the skills of decompositions, followed by pattern recognition, abstraction, algorithm, and logical reasoning, as well as evaluation. So I will then share with all of you. Decompose refer to breaking the task into minute details. So I hope that, after I have given you the definitions of all the CT skills, for some of you, you might realize that, those skills are also similar with higher order thinking skills. All right. So with regard to pattern recognition, it will allow us to notice similarities or common differences, which eventually leads to certain prediction and perhaps will lead us towards certain shortcuts in solving our problems. So when we are able to identify pattern, sometimes it's easier for you to make inference from the observation as well as from all relevant data that I presented to us. Now, what about abstraction? Abstraction involves defining relationship, selecting relevant, or eliminating irrelevant information. So these are the skills are abstraction. And what about algorithm? I think for most of us, we are very familiar with algorithm. So algorithm refer to the ability to develop step-by-step strategy for solving problems. So, and then logical reasonings, it helps our children to develop ability to reason logically and to make deduction based on the information that are presented to them, as well as making prediction, as well as debugging. So debug meaning that we reflect on the solution that we have created by analyzing the solutions to identify perhaps we make mistake or there are certain weaknesses in our thinking operation which might lead to inefficient or sufficient or irrelevant decision out of the thinking process. Now, as we also always familiar with evaluation. So evaluation meaning that, we evaluate the solution, whether the solution makes sense, whether we really understand the solution of the problems, and whether the solution is comprehensive enough, and whether the solution will lead to certain reinforcement or certain identification of weaknesses, so on and so forth. Okay, so these are this definition, these are simple definition that we have simplified, how to make sure that we are able to not only to understand the concept, but able to integrate it, okay? Not only in our teaching and learning, but also in our daily life. When we are making decisions, when we are planning to do something, we hope that eventually, computational thinking, the one that we have in ourselves, will lead us towards efficient solution and efficient decision making. All right. So based on the definition that I have given, so what we could say that, computational thinking is similar to higher order thinking. So inculcation of computational thinking among our student, among our future generation, will certainly lead towards development of higher order thinking. And considering the current nature of workplace requirement, considering the current advancement in science and technology, and considering all the multiple possibilities that we will be facing in the future, so that we should shift towards inculcating higher order thinking skills to inculcating computational thinking skills in our science teaching and learning. Now, at the same time, I have also synthesized what are the components of computational thinkings that are needed to be mastered by teachers as well as students. Okay, so from the literature, we have synthesized, definitely the skills of decomposition, pattern recognition, algorithm abstraction. Those are all important skills that have been used as dependent variables in determining the effectiveness of computational thinking skill integration in STEM teaching and learning. So many researchers in the past, until 2020, so they regarded those computational thinking skills as important, that need to be developed and need to be inculcated, not only among students, but also teachers, because they will act as role model, and they will also play an important role in delivering and in shaping students' computational thinking skill. Now, we move to the fourth segment of my presentation. So what are the strategies that could be used in cultivating computational thinking in STEM? So at the same time, I will also like to share the fact that we are still experimenting, which method are the best method to inculcate computational thinking skills. At UKM, I have few PhD students who are currently doing their PhD in integrating computational thinking. So we have few students try to inculcate it at the primary level, secondary level, and also specific in chemistry lesson, physics lesson, so on and so forth. We are still determining which method, as the most suitable methods, but at the same time, we also try to innovate the approach from time to time by integrating certain technological advancement in addition to certain programming software that we have been used in integrating computational thinking in STEM. So integration approach of computational thinking in STEM could be analysis of literature have shown that based on our analysis for the past 5 years, normally methods such as data practices has been used, modeling and simulation practices, problem solving practices, as well as system thinking practices. So these are 4 common methods that have been used, and normally this method has been used as a single approach by using a computer science subject, so that the students, they will have, as well as they gain direct experience in integrating computational thinking in computer science subject, but not in STEM subject like physics, chemistry, or biology. All right. So at the same time, we also found that there are certain studies since the past 5 years. There are few studies which have started to integrate computational thinking in STEM education. So there are 4 studies, 4 category of studies that we have classified. The first one is integrating computer science in STEM education through programming, certain programming. And there are also efforts to integrate computational thinking in biology subject, okay, through integration of computer science such as programming and coding, especially Scratch, and developing computational thinking through programming. It was also found that it has resulted in tremendous impact on students, knowledge acquisition as well as concept attainment. And there are also a few studies which emphasize the practice and the use of certain programming, particularly Scratch in science classroom, especially among teachers who lack of computational thinking skills, or who lacks of computational programming skills. So certainly, we could see there are efforts that have been done, in STEM education in inculcating, in trying to integrate computational thinking in science teaching and learning. However, so what are the suitable pedagogical approach for this interdisciplinary approach, in STEM education? Now, so what I am suggesting is to use the framework of computational thinking as problem solving and integrate it with a Bloom revised taxonomy as well as CT model. Okay, so I will briefly share this model. So in this case, we are integrating a problem solving approach, the theory of computational thinking as well as Bloom's taxonomy. So revised Bloom's taxonomy and computational thinking model, this one, will be used together with the problem solving approach. So in this case, students will be immersed in an activity where they will identify problems, which will also involve abstraction and decomposition. And after that, when they gather or represent as well as analyzing data, so they will do these skills, these computational thinking skills, and at the same time, we will also emphasize pattern recognition and data representation. So when they generate, select, plan solution, implement solution, as well as assessing solution, so we will then use algorithm, in order to immerse them, in an activity where they solve problems and at the same time, they also develop their computational thinking skills. So this model, the integration of problem solving together with Bloom taxonomy and computational thinking. So these are the activities. I'm going to skip this because I think just now I have explained, how it has been done. Is when the students arrive at the stage of generate, select and plan solution, implement solution and assessing solution. As I mentioned just now, we are using algorithm, but at the same time, maybe we can also enhance it with modeling and simulation and also debugging. So in this case, when we enhance it with modeling and simulation as well as debugging activities, so the students will enhance not only their cognitive skills, but also their metacognitive skills. As you could see, when we integrate modeling as well as simulation into the revised Bloom's taxonomy and problem-solving models, as shown by Berbite et al. 2018, it will give tremendous impact on regulating certain cognitive domain, on part of the students. And at the same time, debugging, as I mentioned earlier, I think in the presentation, so when we debug, what we are going to do or what we are going to train our student in debugging exercise is for them to aware of their own thinking. This is also one of the important methods as emphasized in metacognitive strategies, whereby the students will be asked to evaluate their own algorithm, and at the same time, they will be comparing it with their peers through think, pair, share activities. They will then identify the weaknesses in their algorithm as well as make them aware of how they should go about in improving the programming, the algorithm that they have generated or that they have produced, and gears towards more effective and efficient algorithm. So in this case, by enhancing the activities through simulation, modeling, as well as debugging, students will not only develop their cognitive skills, but we make them aware of their own thinking, i.e., we are motivating them to make them more aware of their metacognitive skills and geared towards effective as well as efficient thinking. So these are the activities that we first thought that is going to be effective not only in cultivating students' computational thinking, but also the attainment of scientific concepts. But we found that this method is not sufficient in order to help students. No doubt they have improved in themselves, the skills of computational thinking, but they still need assistance in terms of acquiring STEM content. So we feel that this method need to be enhanced in an inquiry-based learning environment, in addition to the framework, the one that I have just elaborated. So in this case, what we are proposing is to integrate the framework that I was presented just now with the inquiry-based learning. So because of the time constraint, I will just focus on this table. So in this case, as you could see, when we just focus on problem-based learning, the one that I have discussed just now, integrated problem-based with computational thinking and Bloom-Revised taxonomy, maybe the band, we feel that the band that the students are going to achieve, band 4, 5, 6. But when we integrate the framework, the problem-based learning framework with the inquiry learning environment, so we are going to get an output at the highest level. So the students will be able to develop creative product, by combining the inquiry-based learning as well as problem-based learning. So what we are proposing, so the interdisciplinary approach in STEM education, no doubt it has captured our attention because of IR 4.0, so on and so forth. So when the computational thinking skills as problem-solving framework, be integrated with 5E models, so it will lead to a significant improvement, not only in terms of students' computational thinking, metacognitive skills, but also, the students will also not having problem in attaining scientific concepts, even at higher level, they are able to solve complex scientific concepts related to the problems. So in this case, what we're going to propose in integrating computational thinking in STEM education, in STEM teaching and learning, be it physics, chemistry, or biology, is to combine the inquiry-based approach with the problem-solving and revised Bloom's taxonomy plus computational thinking model. So the one that I have simplified in the right side of this PowerPoint. Now, so I come to the conclusion and reflection. So as you could see, based on what I have shared within the time given, so the problem solving, when it combines with inquiry approach, play an important as well as significant approach in this interdisciplinary mission of integrating computational thinking in STEM lesson. No doubt the achievement of this interdisciplinary approach, rooted from proper and well-guided pedagogical approach, which extracted from well-organized model as well as from framework, the one that I have shared just now. At the same time, if teachers masters the skill of CT as well as HOTS, they can make an astounding change in terms of their classroom practice through two important pedagogical approach, which is the combination of problem-based learning as well as inquiry-based learning. But at the same time, I would also like to emphasize the fact that teachers need to equip themselves, constantly equip themselves, and teachers must have trait of lifelong learners in order to equip themselves with necessary knowledge as well as skill in updating, especially the activities related to CT as well as problem-solving skill. Make it more life-oriented activities, make it so ill-structured, relate it to children's daily life, relate it with the current science and technological advancement, so that they can be role model, role model to the students, not only in terms of their mastery of science concept, but also in terms of computational thinking as well as general knowledge in general. Now, I would like to conclude my presentation. So I would like to emphasize the fact that further research on this field will be valuable in integrating CT and STEM, and to ensure its successful implementation, proper guided module is needed. No doubt, teachers need to be guided, how they are going to integrate it. So proper module will be helpful, will be certainly helpful for teachers. And the module should be designed by considering the acquirement of content knowledge of STEM as its prime objective, whether we like it or not, and at the same time, CT skills as additional skills that need to be organically as well as systematically cultivated. So with that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much, and I pass the floor to the chairperson. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Prof, for the informative and great sharing. So I will pick one question from the chat box. Okay, the question is from Benny Lau. Good afternoon, Prof. Dr. Kamisa. What are your advice or suggestions for teachers to equip ourselves with the knowledge or even skill about computational thinking? As we could see, there an addition of this component in our new KSSM, DSKP in STEM. However, I believe many teachers still do not have the chance or even exposure on how we could prepare ourselves in accurate before we train our students.
Okay, I should answer the question now, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the questions. I think effort, yeah, to furnish teachers with these skills has been started by MDEC, yeah, Multimedia Development Corporation, whereby they train, yeah, a certain number of master trainers. And at the same time, these master trainers were selected by the PPD, yeah, Pejabat Pendidikan Daerah, and when they go back to school, they should actually, yeah, deliver and as well and share the skills to the teachers in their respective schools. Yeah, I think there are so many CPDs established by MDEC, yeah, collaboration with the MOE in order to equip teachers with these pedagogical skills of how to integrate CT skills. I am also one of the master trainers. So we have been trained by MDEC, yeah, by our master trainers from Carnegie Mellon, and they also after that, you know, we have to train certain number of teachers. The master trainers will train certain number of teachers, and most of the master trainers are university lecturers. So PPD will send certain number of teachers, and under the PPD will send, yes, certain number of teachers to Center for Professional Development. As for myself, I am heading the UKM CPD. We also have another CPD at UM, you know, we'll also cater Central Region. And as for UKM, we cater for teachers in Putrajaya, Selangor, as well as Negeri Sembilan. So after the teachers, I think similar to training of trainers model. So when they have acquired the skills through the TOT, so they will then actually need to share the skills and knowledge of integrating it with their respective teachers, yeah, with respective teachers in their school. I think those are the effort made by the MDEC as well as Ministry of Education. But at the same time, I guess teachers should be well aware of the fact that there are so many exposure that could be gained, yeah, in YouTube and so on and so forth. So teachers need to be very inquisitive, yeah, in order to try new methods and, you know, try to remodel whatever they can get from the internet. You know, there are so many ways that they could equip themselves.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof, for the answer. So, ladies and gentlemen, since we have already reached to the end of the session, so we have to end the session first. So, thank you so much, Professor Kamisa, for such an illuminating talk. We will definitely be benefited from your sharing. And thank you so much, everyone. With that, I would like to close this plenary talk with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will pass this event to our chairperson, Ms. Farah Najiha.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Kamisa, for the enlightening speech. With Professor Dr. Kamisa here with us today, let us all cherish the moment by taking photos together. All guests are invited to switch on your camera for a photography session. In count of 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done with our keynotes and the plenaries. Next, we will have a forum entitled Integrated STEM Education Issues and Challenge at 2:45. I seek your attention to stay in the WearBex platform for our next agenda. Thank you.